and welcome to this week's lesson. This week we look at words and phrases surrounding 10-pin bowling. This is a game we play where we use a heavy ball to try to knock down pins at the other end of a wooden floor. We will be looking at the following words in this lesson: 10-pin bowling, bowling alley, pins, frame, and gutter. As always, we help you with your pronunciation, help you understand the definitions, and use examples of English you are likely to hear here in everyday life. Why not leave a comment in the comments box asking questions about what you've heard today, or any words you would like further explanation of. Don't forget to like our video so we can get our videos out to more people, and to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss an episode. Don't forget to stay until the end to test your knowledge by taking our quiz. Anyway, let's start with the first word. The first word we have for you in this week's lesson is 10-pin bowling, and we pronounce this as 10-pin bowling, and that again is 10-pin bowling. So now we've done the pronunciation, let's move on to the definition. It's a game played where players roll a heavy ball down a wooden track, aiming to knock down as many of the 10 pins as possible. So that's the definition. Now let's take a look at an example. Alan went with his friends to the 10-pin bowling alley to play a few games of 10-pin bowling. The second word we have for you this week is bowling alley. And let's have a look how we might pronounce this word. Bowling alley. And that again is bowling alley. So there was the pronunciation. Now let's look at the definition of bowling alley. This is the building in which 10-pin bowling is played. So now let's have a look at an example of where we might use the term bowling alley. Sarah met her friends at the bowling alley before their game of 10-pin bowling. They played some other games there too, such as table football, pool, and on the coin machines. The next word we have for you this week is pins. Now let's have a look at the word pins in more detail in terms of pronunciation. So this is a fairly simple one, and it goes as follows: pins, and again pins. So now let's have a look at the definition of pins. These are the tall, thin objects that players try to knock over for points. Players get 2 attempts to knock down the pins down each time they throw the ball. Now let's have a look at an example of where we can use pins. John threw his ball and was able to knock down 7 pins. On his second throw, he knocked over 2 more, leaving only 1 remaining out of the 10 pins. Next this week, we move on to the word frame. And let's have a look at how we pronounce frame in a little more detail. Frame. Frame. So that's a fairly simple word to pronounce. And now let's have a look in the definition to learn a little more about what a frame is with regards to TenPin bowling. These are the 2 attempts each player has to knock over the pins. Each player has 10 frames in a match. Therefore, that means they have 20 throws in an entire game. So now let's have a look at an example of how we can use the word frame. Amy scored 8 points from her first frame, or 2 throws, while her friend was able to score only 1 in her first frame. We now move on to the final word of this week, and this final word is gutter. So let's have a look at how we pronounce gutter. 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 So there's the pronunciation, and now let's move on to the definition. So this is the name of the gaps either side of the wooden slippery floor which people throw their balls down. If a player's ball falls into the gutter, then it takes them away from the pins and they will score 0 points. So now let's have a look at the example of where we can use the word gutter when talking about 10-pin bowling. Alex's ball sadly fell into the gutter and was not able to hit any pins. Now it's time to test your knowledge with our weekly quiz to see how much of today's lesson you can remember. So let's take a look at the question. What building would you be going to if you were going 10-pin bowling? Would you be going to an A, a bowling lane, B, a bowling street, or C, a bowling alley? And the correct answer is C, a bowling alley. A bowling lane is part of a bowling alley as it is the wooden floor we throw the ball down. And a bowling street, that's not really found anywhere really. Anyway, let us know in the comments if you got the answer correct. Thank you very much for joining us in this week's lesson, and it was very nice to have you here with us. Next week we will be looking at English used when making cookies. If you have any questions about this video or would like us to explain a term for you from any context, then please post your question in the comments box below. We are always happy to help. Don't forget to like our video to help us get more viewers and expand our channel in order to provide you an even better service. Why not hit the subscribe button and bell so you never miss out on one of our future videos. Anyway, for now, goodbye, and we'll see you again next week.